Okay, everybody, I hate annuities, and here's why you should too. I'll explain it. It's obvious to me. All right, so here we go. Let's start with one of the most important things to me and every advisor is fees. Right? I am greedy and I just want my fees. Well, let's talk about on average. On average, if you're going to have a managed portfolio, pretty much across the board, people are used to that 1% in management fees. I think the national average is above 1% now, and I've actually seen somebody paying 3%. It baffled me. I had never seen anything even close to that, but it happens. So let's say I'm managing a portfolio, I'm buying stocks and bonds, making you think I'm doing my work, and there I am managing it for 1%. I pull that 1% out of your money. Believe it or not, that's where it goes, right? It just comes right out of your money into my pocket. So on average, a traditional portfolio is a 1% management fee. I manage it for 10 years. I'm making 10%, 1% each year, and it's coming from your money. But here's the thing. If I choose to pull your money out, okay, pull your money out of the traditional portfolio, no longer charging that management fee, and I put it into an annuity, typically I'm going to make a commission, right? So here's that commission, and this is where the industry has a problem, right? The perception of a commission is a bad thing. I'm motivated to sell you something to make that commission. But I'm giving up that 1% paycheck. Sorry, this way. I'm giving up that 1% paycheck to make that commission. And that commission looks more like this. Okay, so the most popular by far, we're talking over 250 billion with a billion dollars moved into MIGAs and FIAs. What are those? Well, these are CDs from insurance companies, multi-year guarantee annuities. By far the most popular annuity out there right now, and just barely edged out the fixed indexed annuities, both of which are CD and bond replacements. They're just another place for stable, safe investing strategies. That's it. That's it. They're as simple as they get out there. Okay, so none of the fancy, crazy stuff like variable annuities. There are barely any sales of variable annuities, barely any sales of the deferred income annuities, especially compared to these top two here. Okay, so MIGAs, by far the most popular in the last 3-4 years with these higher interest rates. MIGAs, the commissions are upfront and they are not from your money. And they are only 1 to 3%, usually depending on your age. If you're in the 80s and 90 years old, I guarantee you it's only a 1% commission. And that's not per year, that's upfront, and that's it. So if I give you a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, 10-year, doesn't matter. If you're 90, I'm only making 1%, and that's it. Okay. The higher end, 3%. You're younger than say 75 years old, and the term is typically 5 to 10 years, 5, 7, or 10 years. The threes are always lower commissions, the 1% commission on a 3-year. So then you got 5, 7, and 10. I might make 3%. But again, that's 3% upfront, nothing the second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, seventh year, eighth year, however long you guarantee it, nothing extra, just upfront. So I want you to think about that. This in every case is going to be less than 1% a year. It's the equivalent is going to be less than 1% a year. And on top of that, by the way, it does not come from your money. It comes from the insurance company. Just like a bank CD, you put your money in there. The kid behind the counter made a commission. I guarantee you almost all the big banking systems out there, Wells Fargo got in trouble, but Chase has been in trouble. They all pay commissions for opening new accounts and especially things like CDs. But the commission comes from the bank. just like in this case, it comes from the insurance company. So look at it objectively from a well-rounded financial, not somebody that only has an insurance license that's just selling these to make the commission, but look at it from a traditional manager's point of view. Do I want to pull money out of my portfolio and put it into a MYGA, or do I want to convince you that bonds are the right investment? I'd rather make 1% a year every single year. I don't want to pull the money out and do this. That does not make sense for my pocket. So I hate annuities because it puts me in this dilemma. But the dilemma gets worse because I'm actually a fiduciary. So if it's about what's right for the client, then I have to be blind to this stuff. But now, here's what's crazy, and this is what's going on more now, because 2019, the IRS went in. There was a private ruling letter. It's basically when companies are asking permission to do something or clarification on tax law that nobody can seem to answer, the IRS will come out and give a letter telling everybody, here's what our ruling is. And that ruling said that you can now start charging fees in annuities. So it was going on before. People were doing no commission annuities and just charging the management fee to the rest of your portfolio. So even if you only had, $1 million in the portfolio, but you had another 500,000 outside of the portfolio, they were charging the fee for the full 1.5 million instead of just the million that was in the managed portfolio. Well, now they can actually take the fee out of the annuity itself. You haven't been able to do that before, believe it or not. So here's a big change, and we got a long ways to go on this. And here's what's going on. I want you to see this because I actually know an advisor that's been using MYGAs in their portfolio, but charging a management fee. And so I'm thinking about this going, this is crazy, because as a fiduciary, I'm not supposed to take commissions. Right? Now, technically, my licensing as a fiduciary doesn't cover my insurance licensing, and that insurance commission doesn't come from your dollars. So technically, there is not a conflict of interest from a fiduciary standard, but it's still completely frowned upon because people hear the word fiduciary and the whole industry just says any commissions are bad for any fiduciary. Well, here's the huge problem with this. I'm now put in my fiduciary dilemma, and we'll argue this till the day ends. So here's again a fee-based MYGA. I went and looked out there. This is the highest rates I could possibly find out there. Okay. So I found a 3-year paying 5.75 and a 5-year paying 5.9. Okay. This is structured, and this is the verbiage that it says out there, right? This is structured. This structure provides transparency in cost and aims to align the advisor's and the client's interest. These are so much better, right? I mean, that's what this says. There's no commission, so there's no hidden nothing. They're going to charge the fee directly to you. So now let's apply that 1% management fee. We subtract that out, and you're actually only making 3-year at 4.75 and a 5-year at 4.9, right? We're taking 1% out of there, taking the management fee out of there. Okay, so I look at this and scratch my head and go, okay, so I'm charging you a 1% fee on an asset that, let's be honest, I don't have to manage. I've actually seen CDs in portfolios the worst I ever saw was $1 million CD in a managed portfolio. It was paying 1% and the management fee was 1%. They had $1 million earning nothing in their portfolio, and somehow this is okay. I don't understand that world. And the hard part is all the regulators and everybody, they say this is better. I would rather you be upfront and honest and charge that management fee on that account. And so the consumers don't know why, but they feel the same way. So it's quite interesting because here's the funny thing. The commissioned MIGAs, the commissioned multi-year guarantee annuities. This structure apparently does not provide transparency, apparently, in costs, and does not aim to align the advisor and the client interest, but it's the exact same investment, just different way to charge the fee, right? So here's the thing, because there are way more insurance companies out there issuing these types of MIGAs, it's way more competitive on interest rates. And the highest 3-year I could find was 5.75 on a 3-year, the same as the fee-based one. And the best 5-year I found is actually better than the best 5-year I could find in the fee-based MIGA world at 6.3. And these, yes, it's true, they have no management fee. They pay a flat commission to me that does not come from your dollar. So as a fiduciary, I'm supposed to give you this, the fee-based MIGA. But if I consciously know that this is out there, this is what's crazy. I look at this and just go, how am I supposed to make this decision? I make more money over here in the fee-based MIGA, but what's better for you? No fee? Higher interest rate? I think so. So the fiduciary dilemma, should I be giving you the ones with the fee because the industry and all the regulators tell me that's what I'm supposed to be doing? But do I really know which one is better for you? Yeah, I do. And if I ever get in trouble from one regulator for doing what I think is right for you, I will be extremely upset because this is what's going on in the industry. Now, does anybody actually have a problem with this dilemma? Well, I'll be honest with you. I do know several advisors that use MIGAs but charge management fees. And I find it completely irresponsible. It does not make sense to me, but it's what the industry wants. Because apparently, just look at the verbiage, just look at the way they do this. I mean, jump on AI, ask about it. This is what the industry has put out there and says that this is good for you. This aims to align the advisor and the client's interest. This provides transparency and cost, which in conclusion, then this doesn't. I hope I clearly conveyed that dilemma that we have out there. So there's another problem with annuities. The next one is, let's just be honest. It's easier for me to tell you no. I lose way more clients than I gain when I recommend an annuity. Okay. I don't sell annuities. I look at somebody's situation and decide when it's right for them and wrong for them. But the reality is a lot of people have this weird little mindset that any advisor that recommends an annuity is just out for a commission or some other version of this in their head. And I'll be honest, not as an insult, the vast majority of people out there are ignorant when it comes to annuities. They do not understand them, and or they have complete and total misconceptions about them. Not as an insult, because I'll be honest, vast majority of investors out there don't know what a bond is. They've never read a bond contract, yet you want to read the annuity contract. And I think you should. I think you should, because when you go through and read the annuity contract, they're not much different than a CD contract or a bond contract, because they all have similar structures. They all have similar contracts. So it's easier for me to tell you no. It's called the path of least resistance. It's avoiding effort. Why do I want to get in an argument with you? Why do I want to take the time to educate you as to why it's right for you in your situation? Don't need to go through that. Everybody else does it this way, and it seems to be generally accepted. So I'll just do it that way, right? It's just easier. I do lose people when I recommend an annuity. It's without question. I've had people show up to multiple appointments and then all of a sudden disappear on me. And I find out later it was because I brought up or recommended an annuity. It happens. It absolutely happens. So it's easier for me to just say no. Feed into it. I don't think that's right for you. Or just not recommend them as much. When I see a glaring obvious reason to need one, sure, I'll still put up that fight, but I might lean on not recommending them. Because because the stigma and the lack of understanding is out there. Then here's the last one that I put on here. It's easier to feed into all these misconceptions. I mean, there's an entire advertising campaign out there stating I hate annuities and you should too. So it's real easy to just fall in line with all that. Join the complainers. Annuities are too complicated. There's no reason to put it in your portfolio. Annuities are bad investments. Why would we ever do that? You don't earn anything in them. You'll lose access to your money. And notice these are all misconceptions, which means the opposite is true. Annuities are not trustworthy. I mean, I'm having this conversation over and over again. Well, what do I do if I want 100% of my money, right? I mean, just feed into that. Oh, you're right. They're just terrible. There's no reason. They're not trustworthy. They're only good as long as the company's in business. There's no backups to that system at all. Annuities have high fees. They're terrible. There's just so many fees. If I die, my money is gone. Annuities are only for retirees. Well, let's be honest. The vast majority of you listening to this right now believe at least one of these. Annuities. No, most of them aren't that complicated. They're actually fairly simple. And then you say, oh, look at the big fat contract. Well, I'll be honest, most of it's just disclosures from the IRS that say you have to pay taxes or your annuitization rights. Maybe 3 or 4 pages that are specific to you. Again, when was the last time you actually read a bond contract, and how many bonds do you own or bond funds do you own? So annuities are no more complicated than virtually anything else that you invest in. Annuities are not bad investments when used properly. That is the key. I always say it's good to have a written plan when there's an annuity involved because it usually has a distinct purpose. It has a place in your portfolio, in your situation. That's the key there. You'll lose all access to your money. There's nothing further than the truth from that. I mean, as a matter of fact, they're better than bonds and CDs in terms of access. The vast majority of these gives you access to 10% of your money. You don't have to worry about market, if the stock market is doing well or not, if interest rates are up or down. No, this is you just gaining access to the account. So there are provisions, and when used properly, they're actually better than being exposed to the market on a bond or maybe a CD that you'll have to break and pay the penalty. Annuities are not trustworthy. Well, the system is rigged for annuities to be trustworthy. Insurance companies at the turn of the 1900s were the biggest, most powerful companies in the world, and they shaped the rules the US was built on. Go look at the first IRS code. We have a tremendous backup system to our insurance companies and force them to reinsure each other. Go look at actual facts, not the fact that the industry forced insurance companies to say it's only as good as the insurance company guarantees. It's way beyond that. Way beyond that. Annuities have high fees. Well, some annuities do have fees. Do I consider them high? Well, not really. I mean, I've seen some variable annuities have lots of fees that I think I would deem high, but the vast majority of annuities being used today from, again, that 250 billion in MIGAs and fixed indexed annuities, those typically have no fees. None, zero, zilch, not from the insurance company, not from the advisor, the vast majority of them. If I die, my money is gone. Yeah, no. Any cash value annuity, the value of that money, they bypass any fees or penalties, and boom, it goes straight to your heirs. It's creditor and lawsuit protected. It's one of the better ways to pass wealth to your heirs. And annuities are for retirees only. Well, they have to be carefully used for people under 59 and a half. And they are very retiree friendly. But they are being used more and more, especially MIGAs and fixed indexed annuities in IRAs and 401k money type stuff for younger people as bond replacements. We're seeing them used more and more. And they're still working on, they've opened the regulator world up to adding annuities into the traditional 401k, especially those income annuities, since companies don't have pensions anymore. It would be a good diversification, but it's just logistically hard. It's a great idea, but it really does take advice. Advisory is where this comes in, and you can use it to your advantage. So that's why I hate annuities, and you should too. I find it funny. The reality is the stigmas out there, the not understanding, the misconceptions. These things are all normal out there. I see it all the time, and so yeah, annuities are a thorn in my side as a fiduciary. If I see a situation and say, this is right for an annuity, then I got to convince the client of that. And why? See, that's the problem. Well, I hope that gives you some background and understanding of that annuity world. Certainly, if I can help in any way, go to yourinvestmentcounselor.com. You can scroll down to the bottom and schedule a free meet and greet with me, actually me, yes, not some thousands of advisors. No, just me. Our full classes, our full education, I do hour-plus long classes live. Go to fpfeaz.org. You can jump on those classes and see what else we do out there. And certainly subscribe and do all those wonderful things. Pass this along, hit that like button, and we will see you next week with a new video.